there's a bunch of different ways that you can holster a firearm and carry a firearm and whatnot. We're going to focus on, when it comes to holsters and drawing reholstering, we're going to focus on the waistband. All right, we have inside the waistband and outside the waistband. Let me go ahead and show you how these holsters come on and take off. I'll start with this one because I need to get this one off in order to get this one off. But this comes on and off relatively easily. And I don't need to take the firearm out in order to get the holster off. With this way it's built, I just pop this clip here, because it goes not only out and holding on my belt, but it's holding up underneath my belt too. Because and that's good, because if I go to pull my gun, I don't want that holster to come with it. That keeps it held to my belt, my actual holster will. All right. But in order to get this holster off, just pop, and it slips right out. All right. You notice that you cannot see the trigger. You can tell where it is because it's form-fitted and stuff. It's molded to this gun, but the trigger is protected. This gun's not going to just go off. All right. Yes, you need to, and this goes with any holster. You want to make sure that when you're you want to practice drawing and reholstering with this. You want to make sure your finger stays off that trigger until you're ready. When we practice that today, I'll explain that more later and stuff. But you don't want to grab the gun as soon as it gets out of the holster. You've got your finger on that trigger, right? Because if you squeeze too quickly and too soon, hey, that's not going to be a good day for me, right? So I'm going to take this back off. I'm going to sit this to the side. There's differences in belts. There's belts that you just wear when you're nice with nice slacks that look good and stuff, but they're not really going to hold a lot of weight and stuff. There is actual belts that are rigid and they're going to last you 20, 30 years or whatever. You got belts that are easy to come off and hard to come off. You got ones that adjust every inch. This belt that I've just chosen to use, this is more or less made for people that are carrying like this. This is a good rigid belt. It's not a cheap belt. It's like 65, 70 bucks. The next step up, which I might try to experiment with in the next year, is like a $100 belt. But this is, it's adjustable, to every little inch or whatever. It also is quick to come off, right? And just the quick disconnect. When I'm actually going to take it off, I got to take it off like this and just wind it through. Out. You'll notice as I'm loosening this up, my gun starts sagging now because it's got weight there. It's not a ton of weight, a couple pounds and whatnot, but it's weight. So you want to make sure that your belt is able to hold that weight securely to your body. When I have my belt on, I'm not cinching it down. It's firm. It's holding my gun firm to my body. It's not going to have a lot of give to it. But I'm not having to suck my stomach in and cinch it down and then release back out. All right, it's firm against my body. How this holster comes in and out, there's two loops on the actual belt. So I have the loop here, I'm gonna wind that out. I have a belt loop right there in the middle. That helps make sure it's more stable in my body. All right, and then a second loop. All right, and now my shorts are gonna fall down. You're welcome for the show. All right, so, and it doesn't work as good with this blue gun. I'll show you actually on this other one. So this is actually what's called a level 2 holster. Level 1, right, holds the gun. Level 2 means it has at least one device, just one device, that secures that firearm into that holster. It's a device that has to be deactivated in order for that gun to come out of that holster. All right, when it goes in, you hear that click, it will not come out. Somebody just comes up and grabs it. All right, it's not too crazy difficult. All right, this particular level 2 holster. All right, if I want to get that gun to come out when it's on my belt and stuff, my thumb hits it. I need to hit this little tab here. I'm gonna hit it down just a little bit, and then it can free that gun out of the holster. All right. Level 1 means it simply holds the holster, or holds the gun. Your pocket's a level 1 holster. Don't ever pocket carry. If it holds the gun, it's level 1. Level 2 means it has one device that you have to deactivate. Level 3 would be how many devices? All right, 2. Let me try to show you an example of that. There's this piece here that protects that tab. Because is it extremely unlikely that somebody might try to grab my gun and they just get lucky and they hit that tab and it comes out real easy? That's a possibility. So level 3 holster, they have to be extremely lucky. They have to either be extremely lucky or know exactly what they're fucking doing and be quick about it, where they hit that tab forward, that's with your thumb, hit that tab forward, that's protecting that one tab, and then you pull the other tab back, all right? So that's a level 3 holster. Level 4 would have how many devices? There you go, all right? But this, again, the holster that I use is a level, what? The one on the, this one I have, this is level 2. Now the one I had up front, that is just simply a level 1. With that, I'm not worried about people grabbing it, because again, most people don't even know it's in the first place. But it's not a bad idea. If you're going to open carry, it's not a bad idea to at least have a level 2 or level 3, because I know, again, I'm going to astound you, but there are crazy people in this world that might, for whatever reason, decide they want to grab your firearm out of that holster. That's a great idea to them, all right? And, you know, if you're not paying attention to what you're doing and stuff, somebody could get that gun out and shoot you with it. There was actually a video a year ago, I think, give or take, and I might be details up, but long story short, the guy's carrying, he's actually underneath his car, working on his car, doing oil change or whatever in the driveway. And some dude just walks up and sees that gun and pulls it right out and shoots his ass. Do you think that guy was like getting, all right, oil filter, wrench, oil, all right, and gets underneath his car? Like, I think today somebody's gonna grab my gun while I'm underneath here and shoot me with it. So how I'm gonna teach drawing and reholstering is I'm gonna teach it from concealment, because that's how most people are gonna probably carry, all right? So how I break it down is into a 4-step draw, all right? 4 steps, and every step you do to pretty much get that firearm out of the holster is the same thing in reverse, all right? This 4-step draw is not the best way to draw or the worst way to draw or the only way or whatever. It's the way that I have found as an instructor, teaching people from all different backgrounds and abilities and body shapes and blah, 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 and it keeps everyone on the same page so they can properly and safely, is the main thing, safely and effectively draw that firearm from concealment and reholster, right? So, right, what do you think is going to be part of the first step for me to be able to safely and effectively draw this firearm? All right, I got to get the shirt out of the way, right? So how I break down, first step of the 4-step draw is to get that shirt out of the way and establish a high, firm grip, right? So both hands are doing something. All right, how I generally do that too is I take my left hand, whatever, because I'm right-handed, to my left hand, I kind of scoop against my body, and I'm getting a hold of that shirt. I take 2 to 3 fingers, I scoop that shirt, pull it out a little bit, and take my thumb and scoop it down and up. Now my firearm is fully exposed, right? When I'm doing that, it's all kind of happening simultaneously, right? So I'm getting the shirt out of the way, high, firm grip. Notice where my finger is. If this is a clear holster, where's my finger at in relation to the firearm? It's up on that frame, right? It's not near that trigger, right? That's going to come very important, because when you go to draw, step 2 is pull that firearm out of that holster, right? You're going to pull it up out of that holster just above, right? This is unnecessary. This is not enough. You got to pull it just enough to clear that holster. When I do that, I want my finger up on that frame, all right? It can be on a slide or whatever, but you don't want it down near that trigger, because and it's happened in general, not at my classes or whatever, but I've seen it happen in general where somebody will go to pull that firearm out, and if they have their finger down on that trigger, the finger slips onto that trigger. And as you're pulling up, you're kind of tensing up and you're squeezing a little bit. You could tense up and squeeze on that trigger, and all of a sudden you shoot into the ground right next to you, or depending on the angle, right into your leg. Right? So don't do that, right? When you pull that firearm up out of that holster, have your finger up on that frame. Your finger stays on that frame until you're out, point at your target, and you're ready to shoot, right? So step 1, right? Get that shirt out of the way, high, firm grip. 2, very simple, pull the gun up out of that holster. All right, now remember, some of these holsters, they have tension that's holding the gun in. So while I explain it simple and I maybe look simple, you may have to really kind of jerk it a little bit to break that tension, right? Step 3 is 3 parts. I break it down in 3 parts. Forget the shirt. You're rotating that firearm up towards that target, and at the same time, you're establishing that 2-handed grip. All right, notice I didn't swing the gun up, right? Literally, I rotated it. All right, I'm holding my wrist right there. I'm right above the holster where it needs to be. I'm rotating the firearm up toward that target, and I'm establishing a 2-handed grip. It's happening all kind of simultaneously, right? My gun is not up here, right? My gun is not out here, right? It's right here bracing my body. It's already relatively orientated toward my target, all right? If it's just say this gem right here is my threat or not. All right, when I pull that gun out, my firearm's already generally orientated towards that threat. Do I know, if I pull the trigger right now, do I know it's gonna hit him? No, I don't know that, all right? But it's already generally orientated towards that threat, all right? And 4, all right, it's gonna be relatively simple and straightforward. You're gonna press the gun out and up to your eye line. Everything that you do to draw is the same thing in reverse to reholster. What I don't want to see you do is you do everything perfect, whatever, draw, fire, and then you're like, oh shit, and you just drop it and it's like, cook it and just throw it in there. Don't do that. Everything, it's not over just because you drew your gun. It's not over just because you fired around. It's over once you have that gun back in that holster, right? As you get more experience, whether today or after today and beyond, eventually you might get to the point where you don't have to look, because you've done it so many times you can feel and get it in there without even looking. That may not be today. It probably won't be today. So if you have to, watch it all the way back in. At least to get started. You know, at least right here, I know I have it started, and I just press down. It's in there, I know it's in there, and I pull up too. Cover back up. Take your time. Main thing with all this is going to be safety. The second thing is to do it proficiently.